religious studies. Kindly alert your colleagues that we've started, that they should try to join. They should try to join. No one should exempt themselves. All right, so we continue from where we left off last Wednesday. So when we met, we actually spoke about various approaches that we can be using to teach, and other theories that also underpin how we are going to teach. And so we saw the problem-based approach, we saw the activity-based approach, we saw the game-based approach, and we have spoken about all of them. That in the course of teaching, it is not always the case that our lessons are going to be bored. We are going to promote boredom. You need to be using some of these things so that our lessons will be lively. Anytime you organize, anytime students will hear that you are coming for them, they wouldn't be running away, leaving you, the teacher. That's what we said the last time. And so today we want to move on. Any curriculum that you have actually matches with what we are going to teach. How are we going to teach? How are learners learning whatever we want to teach? Then you evaluate what has been learned by these learners. You do that to ascertain whether the learners have understood or they haven't done that. And so assessment is very important. In other words, for education to take place, we need a curriculum. And any curriculum comes with its teaching and learning strategies. Then we also have assessment as part of it. All right, so today we just want to revise assessment in RME. And when you say RME, it means that you can apply it in any religion course you are or subject you are handling. You can use that to guide you. All right. Can we start? Is there any question from last week's lecture? Is there any question? Any contribution? All right, so by the time we are going to end today's lecture, we will be able to, all of us will be able to establish the fact that there is something called assessment and we need it in education, and look at the various types of assessment we have, and also look at how best we can use this in religious studies. You see, in our system, it has always been book and paper or pencil and paper form of evaluating whatever learners have done. But at times we can just be questioning. We can be examining our learners orally to know what they have in mind there. Some people have the experience, but to put into writing most of the time becomes a challenge. If that's the case, then we need to find a way to assess their oral expressions. So that's what we will be also promoting. And there are many more. There are many more to assessments. And so let us not only be limited to just pencil and paper, where we are going to have that one-time assessment. No, or we're just going to say that come and write exams. Times we assess things that do not appear to our senses. That's what we need to know, right? And so one will ask, what is an assessment? And in our endeavors, we've spoken about assessment, evaluation. Okay, we as teachers, we engage our learners in class tests, class exercises, and all of these are part of our activities that we need to do. Right. So assessment is basically talking about we gathering data, and now got the data we've gathered, we interpreting that data about learners. So we gather the data about learners, about how much they have learned, whatever we have taught them or we expect them to learn for themselves, and using the information or the data we get to help us in making decisions. And always we need to be able to do some, we need to be able to get some of this information to direct how we go about our teaching. So we are just there to learn something or to get information about something and come and use it for the betterment of all. And so one thing we need to know, and it has been part of us for a very long time, is that assessment is something that has been part of us, has been part of the teaching and learning process for so long. And it helps us also it helps learners to learn. Anytime they hear of something of that nature, it helps them to learn. So it promotes student learning, and also it improves the way we engage our learners. That it improves the instructional sessions. So anytime we engage in some of these things, the information we get direct us about how to go or how to do certain things. Right. So it is a way of finding out whether teaching and learning objectives are achieved or not, and the extent to which the learners have been able to learn whatever we yearn them or we desire them to learn. Right. So it is part. Assessment is very important because any curriculum you go and teach, as part of it, has some obligatory or some goals you want to achieve at the end of the day. And so these targets, for you to be able to know whether you've reached your target or not, you should be able to assess your learners. But then funny enough, this is one of the things students fear so much when it comes to assessment. I remember, 100 some years back, we just returned from off campus and we're in our final year when we're supposed to go and write I think some bunch of quizzes. Now the overall best student at our time started running because he was afraid of assessment. He was afraid of the quiz, and I was just laughing. He was my class. He was my classmate and also roommate as well. So we laughed, we laughed. Even professors, when you are going to assess them, all of them will be frightened. Okay, some. In fact, I shouldn't say some. No one likes assessment. Is there anyone here who likes assessment? Like you're going to write exams. Of course, we should know that it's a way of we determine how much we have learned. It's a way of telling ourselves how well we have invested our time. It's a way of we showing people that we are accountable, and a way of we also promoting transparency. So someone will just come and will not be talking rubbish about you, saying, hey, you this person, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. So assessment is very important. Now, in the context of RME, assessment is very important in the sense that assessment serves as the overall purpose of providing information about learners learning in whatever we have been teaching them in RME. We get such information to be able to guide them we get informed and also help us know whether whatever we purported achieving has been achieved or not. So for the learning objective, it is just a yardstick, but this yardstick cannot work unless we have engaged in the activity of measuring whatever we want to measure. It therefore helps learners, teachers, parents, NACA, I should say stakeholders, okay, examination bodies, to understand what our learners and what our children are actually going through in terms of their strengths or what they are capable of and what they think are some of their weaknesses, and also help them plan for maybe improving the way they teach and also the way they support or go about certain things. So assessment is very important. Assessment is very important. Now there are types of assessments. We have the formative, we have the diagnostic, we have the diagnostic is also a way evaluative. We have aptitude. Okay, the aptitude test may be part of the diagnostic test. We have the summative. Then we have based on time, based on or depending on time, we may talk about these type: formative, summative, the diagnostic based on the purpose, then based on time, based on many factors or who are going to benefit from their curriculum. We may say that we have assessment for learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of learning. These are the basic ones based on time or based on purpose and based on the benefactors. We need to know that. So what then do we assess in academia or in RME? We assess the common core learning that these learners have been able to achieve. Okay, and they come as a result of we picking from the three main domains, be it the affective, the psychomotor, and the cognitive. So these are the things we measure, and we expect everyone to be able to be at par. But then that's not possible because we have individual differences. But then we expect everyone to possess these three qualities that will help them excel. We also assess knowledge and skills that are actually emphasizing the 4 R's. And what are the 4 R's here? We have creativity, we have arithmetic, we have writing, then we have reading. So these are the 4 areas we also assess. We also assess the core competencies that we've learned about, and they are there, and they mostly emphasize on attitudes and values. And so for attitudes and values, you see that they fall under the affective domain. They fall under the affective domain. So we are interested in measuring or in assessing these competencies as well. So is it critical thinking? Is it problem solving? Is it collaboration? Is it personal development? So all of these we end up assessing them in some of these things. Good. Any question? Right. So we have the forms. Now we have the formative assessment, and the formative assessment, as we all know, is just that kind of assessment we engage in as the lesson is in progress. As we teachers are going about our teaching, then we are assessing our learners to determine whether our learners are making progress in whatever we are engaging them with or they are not. And so this information we get or we gather at the end of the day help us navigate our ways in the teaching and learning industry. So that's what we do. And it is usually informal because here you don't see any examination of any examination body coming in to tell you assess them. No. So depending on your demeanor, you may go to a class and you see that your students are not learning, or you ask questions and you see that they are just beating around the bush. For you to keep them on their toe and also know, be convinced enough or get an evidence about whatever is happening in their lives, you need to dedicate time to assess the learners in that regard. And so that's why I say it is not formal. It is not formal. It's rather informal, and it can be carried out as the instruction is still ongoing. Right. So for the instruction, you may decide, do you want to make it a class test? Do you want to make it a quiz? So based on the time and the purpose, this is what we are saying. And then we have the summative, and the summative is mostly done at the end of the period that you have been engaging the learners. So that one is at the end. So someone will say it's a summary. It's a summary assessment of whatever we have done within a specific semester. So with that one, it is more formal. Because that's when you see stakeholders coming in, pulling strings, just to help you teach and teach very well. So that's the beauty of it, and it happens periodically. It may be at the end of a term, it may be at the end of the semester, may be at the end of the academic year or study period. That's what we need to know, and it is in there to help us measure attainment. That's how much our learners have been able to learn whatever we have been teaching them. And it also provides a comprehensive summary of the learner's achievements at that period in the learner's life. Okay, so we get this information, a summary data about the learners, and be able to do that. So we can talk about the WASI, the BC, we can talk about NOVDEC. Yes, NOVDEC is there. We can talk about SAT, we can talk about ITEL. All of these are just in there to help you. They are proficiency tests. I'll say that they are also part of the diagnostic test. Right. So these are the various types we have, and it is usually carried out through the test or an examination. Yeah. So any test that is conducted at the end, and we see that one to be the terminal, it is what we refer to as the summative. All right. So this is just a summary and, like I say, a revision of whatever we want to do. Why? Where are your mates? Are they in other class or what? Or assessment is something they know, so they wouldn't show up.
Sir, please, the thing is, most of us don't know that there is class. So me right now, I went to check in this, and I wanted our course material, and I went to check. That was when I realized that the class has been rescheduled. So most of us are not aware. Thank you.
So you see, in our last meeting, I told you we are going to meet Saturday in the evening. I told you that. All right. I told you. And even tomorrow, 6 p.m., we're also going to meet. Tomorrow, 6:30 p.m., we shall meet. What time are you going to have your New Testament? What time are you going to have your introduction to the New Testament?
6.
6 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, I see. But why? That means we will also have to push that one. We have to readjust this one. Why won't he stick to his time? Okay. So I'll see what I'll be able to do. Just keep me informed about that. Is it 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.?
10 p.m.
Oh.
Tomorrow, 7 to 9, we are going to have Shakespeare.
In the morning?
In the morning, yes, sir.
But we're talking about the evening. In the evening.
Even I never knew that even tomorrow at 6 p.m. we are going to have introduction to New Testament.
Oh,
So
it's
my
on the
sister is
platform. It's on the platform.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's continue. So there are purposes for why we conduct assessments, right? So let's share our views. Why do we assess? Why do you assess your learners? Why do you assess your learners? Why do you assess your learners?
Please.
Yeah.
We make assessment in order to ascertain whether the learners are following the concept or they are understood the topic that is being treated.
Okay, that's good. Madam Mavis.
And please, to find out if what is taught is well understood.
Okay. What else? Why do you assess? So we assess to be able to determine how much our learners are learning. Good. Why do you also assess? Why do we assess?
Sir, please, we assess to know. Sir, please, we assess to know how effective our teaching methods and then the learning activity is going. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Tete.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good
We assess to know the weakness and strength of our learners and which pedagogy to use during learning or teaching and learning process.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Is that all? Is that all? Why do Ghanaians want our learners to be assessed? Why does the government want Ghanaians or learners to be assessed?
Sir, please, we assess them because we want to know whether what we have taught them they understand.
Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Is that all? Right.
Please, sir.
Yes, sir.
We also assess sometimes to know the capabilities, the area of specialization of the peoples, so that if we are grading them or even we are suggesting to them about going forward regarding their educational pursuit, we can even sit with them and also suggest to them a kind of courses that will be very simple for them to engage themselves in, or for them to take, in order to enhance their learning capabilities, or in order to help them achieve their goals.
All right. All right. All right. Emmanuel Alpon, we are in class. I am not sure when you are in class, you write your question on the book. If you were to be in physical class, like face to face, you'll be writing your answers in the book. Please desist from that. Kindly speak out. Talk online so that your voice will be recorded. You also came some. Emmanuel Alpon, we want to hear your voice. And there was silence. Madam Emmanuel Alpon. All right. We've heard you that it's really at your end.
Yeah.
Good. So we assess for us to be able to diagnose the strengths and weaknesses of our learners. We assess our learners to be able to place them at where they need to be. And so let's assume that you're going to seek admission with from a school, because they don't know what you are capable of. They will have to assess you to be able to place you at where you need to belong. Then we also assess our learners to select them for selection purpose. That's why we also assess. So like let's use the military and the police services as example. Before you can get the chance to join the firing rank of the security services, you need to engage in some form of examination. When you fail, please, you will not be selected for that opportunity. So examination is just there, but someone has also said examination favors the fool. Is that true? Hello? Like when it comes to multiple choice, those who are just doing, those who just do their things haphazardly, they benefit much. And I'm asking you whether that is the case or not. Sir Charles.
Sir, please, it is not true. I don't think that statement is true. But sometimes, even with the quizzes we'll be writing, even those ones, the ones we'll be doing it at home, if you don't know, you don't know. And there's nothing you can do about it.
So that adage is not true. It's not true.
To me, it is not true.
Yeah. But as examination is just there, so it is to help in selection purpose. It's also to identify. It's also to now distinguish between those who deserve awards and those who don't deserve. So examination is just there. If you're able to meet the criteria, that means that you will be awarded in that regard. So we award something like certificates. And in UCC, one thing we need to know is that we students, we are just representatives of the institution. We are representatives of the institution. And one thing I have seen is that whenever you find yourself as a UCC product, Charlie, you sell, you go far. So you are being seen or being regarded as a representative of the university. That's why at any point in time, the university can just come and tell you, oh, I want to revoke, we want to revoke our certificate from you. The certificate is not yours. There have instances where people treat, or as you say, mistreat their certificate. They treat it anyhow. Some of them will use it to buy kelewele. Some of them use to buy maize, roasted corn, and other things. The certificate is just giving you the chance for you to represent us. That is why whenever you go to the field, you need to put out a good behavior. All UCC products, wherever they find themselves, you see the arduous training we go through, it helps us to excel. Okay, it helps us to excel. Wherever you see a UCC products, from time immemorial, you see that these people are so good. So it's a way of giving you such certificate to represent us. Then it also helps us to judge how well our learners are learning, and also to determine the progress, just as some of you have done that. Then evaluation also helps us to know how well the curriculum is doing, whether we need to reform the curriculum or whether we need to innovate the curriculum. Sorry. So that's one phase there. Then it also helps us to make prediction. Okay, helps us to make prediction. It helps us to know how well our learners are likely to perform in the future. And so we can, base on whatever we are doing here right now, someone can just pick this, whatever we are doing here, and predict that, okay, this is what you are going to do based on your previous performance. So that's the beauty of it. Your last encounter or your last experience, let's say your WASI, your first degree, may determine the class you are going to get here. Some students just get GCODD. Someone also end up getting the firm Musa. Some people also get a judgment. So these are the various classes people get. So based on your WASI, you were able to predict. Let me see those who had the single numbers. Those who have the single numbers. If you had a single number, there's a possibility that you had a first class or second class upper was high. Can you hear me? Or you can't hear me? Maybe no one had a single number. And if you had first class in your first degree, in the first degree you had, of course, the possibility that you're also going to see another first class here is high. If you had second class lower, it is not too late for you to get a first class here. So we can base on assessment to determine what you are going to do in the future. That's the beauty of assessment. But is it always the case that those who performed well, some people depend on past glories? They say, oh, initially I was like this, I was like that. Then by the time you realize you are just moving straight or heading towards the ditch. So anytime you come or you start programs, you need to be putting aside some of these past glories. If you don't do it that way, you find yourself to blame, right? So that's the beauty of assessment. Then assessment helps us get promoted, or it has the purpose of promotion, right? So we have I think last year we had some promotions taking place, and even this year too. Last time I was in the office when someone came and said, oh, I came to write promotion exams. They said they didn't get their index number. As at the time, the first batch was writing for the promotion. So NTC made provision for them to actually come and write the next promotion. So that is it. Assessment helps us to be able to be promoted. Is it senior superintendent? Is it director? of education and other things. All of these principal directors and other qualifications are just there, portfolios are just there. But before you will be able to achieve them, you need to be chasing some of these, you need to be assessed in that regard. Right. So based on the benefactors, and purpose, again, we have assessment of learning. We also have assessment as learning and assessment for learning. Let me find out from you. When you say assessment of learning, I want someone to explain it for us, so that we will just get it once and for all. So I want someone to explain it. When you hear assessment of learning, let us see some kind of critical thinking here. Assessment of learning. Who is talking? So we have assessment of learning, assessment as learning, and assessment for learning. And based on those who are benefiting from it, we will have to define from such angle. And I want someone to explain it. How do you understand assessment of learning? How do you understand assessment of learning?
Please say.
Yes, sir.
I want to make a try.
Try.
Assessment of learning is about a situation whereby teaching and learning has been taking place, and the peoples or the children, the children are assessed based upon their performance, whether they understood the concept or not, or to know their weaknesses and then their strength, so that it will help you to make a meaningful decision regarding their performance.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Madam Erica. Erica.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So the assessment of learning is like the summative assessment. So the
That's
learners,
it.
they are assessed by the end of the program or the course. So
Okay.
by the end of all the program, maybe that's the maybe end of first term examination. Like so it's the summative assessment. They are
Yes.
assessed at the end of the program. Thank you.
Thank you all. All right. So the issue is, you see, of learning. It means here someone is interested in knowing something that is happening. So of something. And there are two ways. Let me twist a bit. There are two ways of showing possession. We either use the possessive, possessive, or we use of. So teachers, maybe let me use Erica's. So Erica's book or Erica's laptop. It is that. Then I can also use of to represent to show possessive. So laptop of or something of that nature. And so in this case, we're saying assessment of learning is that assessment done by someone to get someone informed. So get me informed of something. That is how it is coming. That is where it's coming from. So it means the person is seated somewhere and is trying to now get information about whatever you are trying to say. or trying to do in academia. So you see that this type of assessment is just there to inform stakeholders of learners learning. And just as one of you indicated, Erica, it is done. It is summative. So after it has been done, we are now trying to study how well learning or teaching has taken place. So that is the beauty of this. It is summative in nature. That one, it is done at the end of the day. And the information we are going to get is going to be used to inform the stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders here? Maybe that the MP is a stakeholder, the parent is a stakeholder, the NACA director is a stakeholder, the examination body is a stakeholder, that NGO somewhere is a stakeholder. And so you are getting the information to go and inform him of the learning that has been taking place, or maybe you are going to tell him, tell this stakeholder about the investment they made. So that's the beauty of this assessment. Therefore, it's also there. So think about that. So assessment of learning just provides an information about how well the learners have been able to achieve the standard learning that, or the standards we, the teachers, we want our learners to be able to reach. So that's what we do. And you see here, teachers are also at the center. Teachers are the ones who conduct such assessments, and the information they get, they use it to feed the stakeholders. So not long ago, a friend of mine told me, oh, there's a mock, and this mock it is supported by the district. There's another mock which is supported by the MP of the area. I said, wow, okay. So if that's the case, you are assessing the learners to go and inform the stakeholder or the one who is supporting that. So is it Ghana Black Stars who want to assess learners on certain things? If you want to do that, it is a form of assessment of learning. Right. So this information provides data for making educational decisions such as grading the students and selection as well as placement. So we see the purpose here. We see the purpose. We've already discussed up there here. That's the beauty of this type of assessment. Now we come to assessment for learning. Assessment of for learning. So we have of learning, and I've said that one is the person is just on his or her own, okay, just independent or just there, and is getting informed of whatever is happening in the school. Now, for learning, so what is, so here we see that stakeholders are benefactors of learning. Now, for the learning, how do you also explain that? For learning, assessment for learning, how do we explain that? Yeah, okay.
Okay, so assessment for learning, it occurs in the course of teaching and learning process.
Okay.
So when you're teaching, yeah, you ask students questions and they give you feedback to know that they are taking part in whatever you are teaching. So that if they
Okay.
are not getting the concept well, then you do it to improve their performance.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Akuya.
Assessment for learning. Okay, it's a learning process which serves as a timely feedback for teachers to refine their teaching strategies in order to improve learners' performance. Thank you.
Good. Good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all so much. So we are assessing and use the information we have gathered or whatever data we have as a basis to teach. So as you are in the course of teaching, then you are assessing them. Oh, you know that, oh, this method didn't work. What I said, they didn't hear, they didn't understand. If that's the case, let me go back. Let me go back a bit and go and find out how well maybe I can polish it so that the students will grasp the concept. And so it is done to help the teacher to take the next step um, of action that he or she needs to engage in to be able to direct the student in the learning. And it is formative in nature because as the learning is taking place, then you are assessing them. So it's a process that teachers need to take their learners through to be able to decide the level of progress that's actually been made. And for any formative assessment is to help us determine the progress that's being made by our learners. And here it enables the teachers to know whether the learners have been able to achieve the stated goals or not, and also help them to maybe either polish or revise whatever they want the learners to be able to achieve at the end of the day. So the beauty of this is that it helps the teacher to make some changes as the learning is still in progress. In this part of our world, it is not happening, but I was in a conference. I was in a conference when I learned about the fact that in some country, when you go to advanced countries, yes, so they came from the US. When in the same class, it is possible they are going to have about 5 categories of students, but they said they have 3. So those who are now picking up and the average and the best students, but I'm asking myself, can we do the same thing here as a nation? Can we imitate such things? So it's possible that as you are using this assessment for learning, you are going to discover things the learners, some of the learners have not been able to understood, and you need to help them do that. So with this level 1 students, you may have to revisit the previous lesson, ensure that they understand. The average may also do something, maybe what you want them to do for the day. Then you expect the last grade, who are the extremely good, the talented kids, the extreme, those who are the extreme right, who are actually considered to be good in learning, you just also push them to such to read things that you are yet to even consider as a teacher. So they are always ahead, then you are pulling those who are beneath or those who are now growing. You are also revisiting whatever you are doing. And so by the time you are done, everyone has benefited from that instruction. So assessment for learning here help teachers to do that. And it is a continual process that happens at all stages of the instructional process. So once you are teaching, then you are engaging in this assessment for learning. You need to be doing such things. So you ask them questions, and when you ask them the questions and they tell you anything that they think is right, you can now base on such information to direct the learners. And it helps the teachers to monitor the progress that the learners are actually making, and also give this timely feedback to the learners about how well they are even doing. Okay. And that one leads us into what we also refer to assessment as learning. So assessment as learning, here the benefactor is the student. So as I am learning, then I am being assessed. That calls for the assessment as learning. Right. So we see teachers' role in that. So here the teachers are supposed to ensure that they align the interaction with the instruction. Okay, that they are actually engaging the learners in. They identify the needs of the learners who are expected to engage in certain. They also need to select the right materials that need to be used in teaching. So we have difference between materials and resources, and we shall see that as we progress. Then we teachers also creating some differentiated teaching strategies that will help us cater for the individual differences we have in the classroom. Then providing this timely feedback to our learners. But in a case where you have about 70 students in class, I doubt if this immediate feedback will be possible. Sorry, will be possible. So my mentor, I remember somewhere last year, I went to the field. I was there when he sent me message, come and see. So the class, the students are overcrowded. One class, they have about 80 students in there. You see, but what is the teacher student ratio? What is the teacher student ratio? What is the teacher students ratio? Please, are you there? Can you hear me? Is it that you're not informed or what? Hello? Oh,
Hi.
Hi.
please mind me.
Hi. 35.
1:35.
Yes.
1:30.
Yes, so between 30, the maximum should be 40. The maximum should be 40. But in our case, we are having about 75, 80 students in one classroom. So how will the teacher be able to engage in some of these assessments and even be giving this timely feedback for 35 or 40 students? At least you can maneuver your way to handle them. But in this case, our classes are overcrowded. 3 people are seated on one desk. And is that the case? So you are already on the field and you are going to SHS to go and see the case over there too. When it happens this way, you ask yourself, are we going to be able to assess the learners as they need to? If that when that happens, you will see that you'll not be able to give them assignments. But that is not a good practice too. We say practice makes man perfect. And so we need to be giving them some of these exercises so that they perfect themselves. When they go and set for either the BC or WASI, they will excel. But that's not the case. Right. So we have various activities here. We have for assessment of learning, we may engage our learners in some projects. We may engage them with some homeworks, some assignments, some learning task, some conferencing. Okay. I remember at the PhD level in the first year, we had to go to the field. We had to attend a conference. And that was when I learned about the fact that all of us are one way or the other we have some learning disabilities. I am sure you may say that you are not disabled, but that's when I discovered that all of us are one way or the other disabled. And so for that matter, we need to be patient with our learners. So conference is very important, and we were assessed using that conference. We had to write our names. That paper came, that course came, and I had an A. I know all of these participation contributed to that. Right, then we have oral presentations. So, but one thing I have discovered, when you organize some of these oral presentations for students, they see you to be their enemy. So oral presentation is very important, and we have something we call Viva. Okay, we have proposal defense. If you want to come and do your masters, we have the proposal defense. We also have the verbal posse, and that's one. These two, they are used to assess learners orally. Okay, they are used to assess learners orally. So after you are done with your thesis at the master's level, there will be a panel where you will come and present whatever you have done to them, so that they will mark you and also give you, through them, receive your award or certification. So that's the beauty of that. And some of you have, in fact, all of you are teaching. You're already teachers. So when it comes to public speaking, it's not going to be a problem for you. What matters is you know your work, you know your staff, and you go stand in front of them. You'll be given some minutes to present. The rationale is that in case you conduct a study, you see, for research, you identify a problem. When you identify the problem, we expect you to now go and get solution or answers to the problem. Now you come and present the findings to people or to your audience. So how are you going to do that? That's the rationale behind it. From masters through PhD, you should be able to engage the public. The taxpayers' money is used to sponsor you a bit. If we are not getting any scholarship, I bet you our school fees will be very expensive. But the government has actually subsidized some of the costs. So if you have been able to conducted a study and gotten, if you've discovered something new that can help humanity, we want to create the podium for you so that you come and share with us. That's the rationale behind these oral presentations. And when you see us doing some of these things at the undergrad, it's a way of preparing you for some of these, for master's life. And don't forget, I've been saying that education is actually meant for adult life. It's not meant for being a child. Okay, so we have all of these there. Then we can talk about assessment tasks. We can talk about portfolios. For our teacher training colleges, graduate. Okay, you know some of these things. The portfolio, you know that, and it's a way of also assessing learners' progress, right? So assessment as learning, and this one is also meant that this is a form of assessment that aims at providing information to the student who is learning the course or the subject, providing the information to the student himself or herself to be able to identify his or her strengths and weaknesses. That is the beauty of that. And it is formative because as we are learning, as I am learning, I want to know how well I am doing that. So we need assessment in everyday activities. Are we dating? Do we need to be assessing ourselves? You don't wait for summative or assessment of learning. When you wait for assessment of learning, that's when the relationship has ended. You are going to regret. So we, as partners, we need to be engaging in some of this assessment of learning, assessment for learning and assessment as learning, so that we will be able to gather some of these things. If we are going to be doing these two, I'm sure our relationships and our marriages are going to work perfectly. We don't wait for assessment of learning, which is at the end when everything is messy. That's when we are going to do that. So here we'll see that learners are going to depend on the front and the support of their teachers. And here we also expect the learners to have this sense of ownership, that I am going to own up to whatever I have done. And they need to be able to engage in some form of reflective practices some form of reflective practices. And that is when you are having a retrospective view about your life, about yourself. So these assessments are very important. And there are two ways we can achieve that. We have the self-assessment, then we have the peer assessment. So this is when you see a teacher for the self-assessment, you see a teacher putting something on the board and asking you to mark. This is where the student will also try to, during the leisure time, will try to be solving some past questions. The moment they're able to solve it, say, yay, I have done it. So that is self-assessment. So we want you to be truthful to yourself. After giving you the exercise, we tell you, okay, mark yourself. Based on the answer, based on the marking scheme we have given you, maybe projected or written on the board, or the answers we provided, mark yourself. When you're able to be truthful to yourself and you see that you are not learning, now you use that self-assessment as energy booster to push you to learn. Then the peer, so that's when they are done, when they are done with an exercise, they will have to exchange their books with their colleagues. Then they are given the marking scheme to mark. So these are the various forms of assessments we will be able to engage in. And you see here, teachers are the center. The teachers are the laborers. Any information you need, teachers are supposed to be part of that. For assessment as learning, you need a teacher to guide you. The teacher will guide you, even in the preparation of the marking scheme and getting the answers to that. As we are here, some of you are looking for past questions. I am sure when you get a past question from your lecturer, you are going to be very happy about that because it's coming from the lecturer directly without any aid. So there is no way the lecturer will tell you, I've given you this and I'm going to mark you down. That's the beauty of it. So that's why I'm saying you need a teacher. For you to determine whether an answer is correct, you may need a teacher. But lucky enough, in our current dispensation, we have AI in the system. We have artificial intelligence that is helping people to solve problems. And it has actually increased productivity. But then we need to know that AI is a co-pilot. It's just a co-pilot. Learn and learn it very well. Don't let it dominate you. We are not saying that AI is coming to take over, but it is just coming to help us. When you go to some advanced countries, for now we have robots that is serving people in the Melcom, in the shop, right? In the supermarket, we have robots serving people, and so pushing people aside. So let us learn. Let us learn. You know, when computers came, those who were using typewriters had to suffer. Someone has said, for me to employ you, I need to ensure that you know how to use AI. And so unfortunately, I gave you a link about how to use AI, and some of you decided not to fill the questionnaires, and it's not nice. It's not nice. All right, so we need that. What are the roles of teachers in assessment and that's when learners are trying to get information about how much they are learning? What do we as teachers need to do? We need to model and teach the skills of self-assessment. We need to be modeling some of these things. We need to guide the learners in such endeavor. Then we need to guide learners in setting their own goals and monitoring their progress towards them. Because of humans' idea that when we see that rules are not benefiting us, we may try to change some of them. That's why we need some of these things. That whenever we are assessing the learners, we can create some avenue to just ensure that they don't change the rules to favor themselves. And teachers, we are supposed, that's why we tell you, teachers, for students to learn, it is our own, it is part of our responsibilities. It is not just mere teaching. We need to be putting certain things in place so that our learners will learn. Growing up, I discovered one thing, that if you hate your teacher, you will not learn. So as teachers, we need to find a nicer way, or we need to find nice ways to let our learners like us, so that they will be reading and be keeping our courses seriously. So we need to work with learners to develop clear criteria of good practice. So we need to work with them in that regard. So these are the various forms of assessment and practical ways we can be engaging in learning. We can be engaging our learners in these various forms of assessment. So if it's assessment for learning, we can just engage in class exercises, quizzes. We can just engage in tests, be it oral or written. We can just engage in class assessment task. Then we have class assignments. So assessment for we can also base on portfolio, can base on journal entries, projects. So they are all there. Then for the assessment that's done at the end of the instructional period, we can engage in this class assessment task. We can also engage end of term, end of year test, end of semester examination. They are all forms of assessment of learning, right? So let us set some examples. We assume that UCC students, okay, let's say strict students, after writing their first quiz, are just in need of their assessment scores, or their assessment scores. Which form of assessment are we talking about here? Are you there? UCC students, after writing their first quiz, are in desperate need of their assessment to know how well they have learned. Which of the forms of assessment are you talking about? Assessment of learning, assessment as learning, assessment for learning. Erica,
Assessment for learning.
assessment for learning.
Yes.
Okay, that is you. I'm going to call all of us so that we know we are assessing ourselves. We are assessing so going alphabetically. Madam Agnes, which of the assessment are we talking about here? UCC students are in need of their assessment scores to be able to know how well they have learned and also direct them in their further learning. Which of the assessment are we talking about here? I'll not repeat the question. Madam Agnes, Agi. Ajewa.
Say.
Which of the assessment are we talking about?
So the question I didn't hear.
You didn't hear.
Sir, please, can you repeat the question?
Someone should repeat the question for us.
Okay, so what Sir is saying is that, or the question goes this way: as a UCC student, that is a first year student, and you have done with your quiz one. So in order for you to know whether you are progressing or you are retrogressing, so what type of the assessment is this the quiz can fall under or is fall within? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Say your body. But say your body,
Please,
I thought, uh-huh.
I think assessment for learning.
Okay, so you've said
Assessment
yours.
for learning.
Why do you say for learning?
Because assessment for learning deals with the class exercises we do, the
Okay,
trials we do. But when it
okay.
comes to okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Akuya,
Sir,
which of the assessment are we talking about here?
I'll go for assessment as learning.
Okay, I see. Sir Collins.
I'll go for assessment for learning.
Okay. Sir Erica, have you spoken? Erica said
Yes, sir,
assessment.
I said assessment for learning. That's what I
Oh,
said.
okay. Madam Mavis.
Please, assessment as learning.
Okay, we've heard you. Noah. Sir Noah. Hello, Sir Noah. Emanuela. Has the rain stopped? Gina.
Hello, sir.
Yes, so which of the
Please, I'll
assessment are we
go
talking
for
about?
assessment of learning.
Assessment of learning. Okay, we've heard you. Peace. Is peace there? Peace. Hey, Safiatu. Safiatu. Madam Safiatu. Hey, okay. Salimatu.
Please, I'll go for assessment as learning.
All right. Sanda.
Say assessment as learning.
Why are you all now going for assessment as learning? You are all
So
wrong. Okay, Sarah. Madam Sarah.
Sir,
Hello.
Yes,
please
madam.
yes, please forgive me. I haven't gotten the test, so I don't know whether I'm going for assessment for or assessment as.
So
Forgive me, I
the
haven't.
student after writing their quiz are in desperate need of their scores.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
I'll go
which
for
of them?
assessment. That's the summative.
Assessment
Yes,
for who?
assessment for learning.
Okay, thank you, Madam Emanuela.
Yes, please. Please, I'll go for assessment for learning.
Okay, good. Sewa. Okay, Senoa.
Assessment learning.
Assessment. Okay, assessment of learning. Good.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, Noah.
Hello.
Yeah, Noah.
Sir, I will go for assessment for learning.
For learning. Okay. Tete. Say Tete.
Sorry.
Say Tete Charles. Hello. Okay, Yakubu. Say Yakubu. Say Yabuadu.
Hello, sir. I'll go for assessment as learning because we are students.
Very good. So all those who said assessment as learning, you are correct. Why? Because you are in need of information to direct the way you are learning or to know how much you have learned. The information is for you. For learning, it is for the teacher. So the teacher is now asking you to get the information, to get an information to direct the way he or she is going to teach you. So we will say that assessment for teaching. We have now substituted assessment for learning. We are, instead of the learning, we've now substituted for teaching. So I am assessing you to use that information to teach you. Then of learning is not closer to the answer. Of learning is just informing someone somewhere about what you are doing in your school. That's the beauty of it. So if I am a minister and I want to know how my students or how the students within my constituency are actually progressing or learning, I need to engage in a form of assessment. And which of the assessment is that? Someone should say that for me.
Assessment of.
Good. Assessment of learning. Because I am a stakeholder and I want to get information about how my students or how the children within my constituency are learning. That's the beauty of that. So we have it this way. Now we move on to the last form of assessment, and that's the school-based assessment. The school-based assessment. And with this, you see, it is that assessment where it is very comprehensive and it is all inclusive. That's we using different modes to assess our learners in the very classroom or in the very school we find ourselves. So we now have the school-based instead of depending on the external or the standardized one or the formal one. Here, whatever you are doing in the school, you are being graded. So we didn't wait and say that, oh, you only engage yourself in pencil and pen, pencil and book assessments, and so that's what we are basing to just please you or grade you, select you or just give you. There are so many people in our communities today who have not been able to progress as a result of their inability to excel in, let's say, one terminal exams, which may be a summative. So here, we are saying that as the instruction is still ongoing, as we are learning, then we are assessing ourselves. We are assessing the learners. So you don't go to some of these advanced countries and you see a student scoring 40 over 100. They can score about 50, which is above average in UCC. Because the student to come to school alone is something that needs to be recognized. That needs to be appreciated. And so with this school-based, we are using varieties. We are using different approaches to assess our learners to see that we are progressing. So here we have the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment being responsible for providing guidance and support on this school-based assessment, and the training is actually done by GES. So training teachers on this effective use of the school-based assessment is the duties of GES. Why is that the case? Why are we saying that NACA is responsible for providing guidance and support on the school-based assessment, and GES is in charge of training teachers for them to be able to use this school-based assessment? Let us talk about that one, then we may talk about the last thing and maybe start considering preparing or planning for a lesson. So someone should explain, why do we say that NACA, that's the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, is in charge of providing guidance and support on the school-based assessment, and GES is also training, is also ensuring that it trains the teachers for using the school-based assessment. Why? Are you there? My teachers are there. Say Albuadu.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, it is the responsibility of GES to supervise and at the same time train teachers, because since teachers are under their care, so they are supposed to at least train them, and after that also supervise whether they are being doing the right thing or not. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. But what about NACA? Are teachers not under them?
So we are under them, but you see that the kind of work they do, they are a council, so a council. They are beyond. Let me put it this way: between them and teachers, you see the link is wide. So their immediate agent is what GES. Thank you.
GES. Thank you. That's so amazing. That's so intelligent. Intelligentsia. Madam Salamatu. Salimatu, sorry.
Please say, I want to help my brother. So with NACA, we can say that their main function is to see through the planning, implementation, and execution of the curriculum. So therefore, it is their responsibility to guide the teachers on how to use or how to implement the curriculum in our basic schools or in our schools in general.
Okay. That's good. That's another brilliant answer. Is that all? So we're saying that it is NACA that is responsible for providing this guidance and support when we are talking about using the
Hey.
We lost the network.
Right. So sorry. I was forced to exit. Right. So can you hear me, please?
Yes, please.
Right. So we're saying NACA. You see, NACA is that centralized body in charge of ensuring that these things we need, this support and resources we need across the country is used in doing that. Then GES is the direct, just as someone indicated, the direct representation or the direct link between teachers and the government. So in that case, we need the teachers to be trained by GES. And you see, again, because we have different districts and municipalities as well as regions. And as well as different regions. All of these places, we have different ways of doing things. And because of what we refer to as contextualization, we need to now find a way to fine tune whatever we are doing in our community. We need to ensure that whatever we are doing also represents the people we are actually going to have that encounter with. And so it's a way when we bring it to the district level, it's GES that can spearhead that activity for us to ensure that the district is really represented. Okay, maybe the way people in Kumasi will be training their teachers is quite different from the way people in the northern region, or let's say in the Bono Ahafo, or let's say in the Volta region, or even Greater Accra will train their students in that regard, because we coming from different environments, okay, and we find ourselves with different people and different cultures. So that's why we need GES, or that's why GES performs such duties. But then no matter what happens, we need to be using different ways to be assessing our learners. And so don't go and stick to only one thing. And one thing, as we are wrapping the lecture on assessment, please, when you go to the field and you are done teaching, if it is possible, just assess, let them write something. If it's class exercise they are going to do, let them do it. Don't assess them orally. When you do such things, it is possible you are going to please a supervisor. And so try as much as possible. If you can end the lecture, please don't rush through the lesson. But then if you still end, when you end the lesson, and of course you've not exhausted all the time, because you're supposed to be time conscious. Time management is a factor. Do you have the Form A? I need to give you the Form A. Have you seen one before? The Form A. You have not seen. I'll have to get you some, unless I go back to Cape Coast. I'm currently not in Cape Coast. So when I get there, I'll try to just scan that and send them out to you so that you'll be able to know what we demand or what we demand from you as teachers alongside that. And on that form alone, please, keeping records is very important. And so ensure that you have, that's why the printed learning plan is not the best. The printed one is not the best. Try to get one single book where you are going to be writing, because when you get someone like myself, when I come, I will revisit your scheme of work. That's you know what a scheme of work is. I know. And also consider the previous lesson you've had, comments, and even the remarks you made about such lessons. I'm going to investigate or supervise all of them one more time when I am around. So please ensure that you are going to assess the learners by letting them write something, some exercises for you. If the supervisor will still be seated, if the supervisor is saying, for me, I'm not tired, I want to sit, then give the supervisor another work. But any good supervisor, all supervisors are supposed to sit and wait to the close of the instructional period. But it's not always the case that they will also be sitting and be waiting for you to end everything. But all the supervisors, the supervisor is expected to sit from the beginning. Even before you go to the classroom, you are supposed to have an encounter, maybe a talk with the supervisor before you go in there. And the supervisor is expected to sit and wait for you to end everything. Then when you are done, the supervisor now comes out to that. But there are instances where they have about 8 people they are supervising within that period. So they may not, I'm using may, they may not be able to look at all of you from start to finish. That's the beauty of it. Good. And so that's that. Now, why the school-based assessment? Why do we need the school-based assessment? Just to obtain better picture of the learner's performance across whatever they have been learning. They may engage in some things that may not necessarily measure their cognitive domain. But in our case, we're only interested in looking at what is in the person's cuckoo nuts, what is in the person's head. But that's not the case. At least gives you the chance for you to measure, for you to have a comprehensive data or information about the learner's learning as compared to the single shot examination like WASI, where we are going to assess them only at the end of their studying period, be it 3 years or 4 years. I'm saying 4 years because it's possible that a new government will take over and will want to push the 2.5 years, or let's say 3 years period to 4 years. Who knows, right? So it also aims at adding the wide range observation of classroom performance over the years to the one single short exam. So that's a continuous assessment, what we have. And most of the time, I think school, for a school, they send 30% to WAEC. And WAEC also, the final one will also give you 70%. So that's very good. But I think maybe we can just do it 60-40, where what is being done in the school will take about 60%. Then let them write the 100%, all right, but then you strike it to 40%. I think that will be one of the nicest ways, because students, learners spend most of their lives on campuses, and at times someone may even fall sick. The person may be one of the best students. So I was talking to one guy who was telling me he studied at Accra, military academy. There is an SHS. He said he was a science student, but then anytime he attempted to go and write the paper, or at the time they were writing the paper, he wasn't feeling well at all. And so they had to just maneuver their ways and other things before they. He said even at a point in time when they were writing the paper, one important paper, an elective subject, the moment he was done with the practical aspects, he had to sleep. Now it was left for them to write the multiple choice. So he went in there again and was very weak to contribute or to write. So he said he slept. The time he woke up, a friend of his, when they had mentioned stop work, he saw that a friend of his was just taking some for him because he was asleep. So these are the things that are not really good. There are unforeseen circumstances that may befall someone and may not allow the person to be able to participate or finish the a single shot exam. No, that's not the best. We don't want such things to happen. That what happened is really an examination malpractice. It's a form of examination malpractice, but you cannot also wait or see the person to fail. So the person had to just the colleague had to write for him, right? Then we also engage in this assessment to enable holistic assessment of the learner, then to also emphasize the learner-centered approach to learning, then also helps us to standardize the internal assessment practices across the various schools, standardize that. Okay, so it's here we are giving the power to the schools so that they can do something good in that regard, and also allow the teachers to develop assessment around challenging areas of the curriculum. Maybe when you see that the students are trying to dodge certain things, you may now target such things and be assessing them so that they will master such part of the curriculum. Before a curriculum will come out, it will have gone through a tedious process before you see that. So whatever you have in that curriculum is very important for you to learn. But at times, it is even possible that the teacher himself may not be able to be loyal. That's a fidelity approach. May not be able to do that. And when that happens, you need to go and invite, you're expected to invite a resource person or someone who has mastery over such things. I think last week in our class here, in one of my classes with the undergrads, it happened that so one of the students came and was explaining. He spoke a whole lot about the issue, and I loved it so much. And it has happened here too. Right. So that's the beauty of it. Assessment. This school-based assessment also allows teachers to collect information about learners that will help them plan their instructions very well to meet the needs of the learners. All right, then it also helps to assess whether the instructional period provided enough, or let's say enough information to help the learners achieve the curriculum standards. So that's the beauty of that. So we'll pause here. For next. That's any question from what you are saying and from what I have also read from the platform. It means tomorrow in the evening you will not be able to meet, right? Is that not the case?
Yes. But sir, I also
Yes,
noticed
sir.
that he said Thursday he won't be available to meet us. So maybe if we can all agree so that we can meet on Thursday.
Like all of us should meet on Thursday.
Yeah. Yes, because we are supposed to have the class on Thursday, and he said he won't be able to meet us. So we should make instead of Thursday, we should make it Sunday and Monday.
All right, so let's see, maybe Wednesday in the evening. Is that okay by you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because maybe Thursday I may possibly travel. All right, so we meet on Wednesday then. For me, I thought we can just make it tomorrow in the evening so that we know that we are left with one additional weekend. Then we are almost done. Then we are done. In fact, we will be done from where we are going, or we are left with 2 units to finish the entire course. Right, so you let us meet on Wednesday, and the course reps, please put on a platform to inform your colleagues. I know some people don't come for class. I know very well. And it's not the best. All right. So see you all, God willing, Wednesday. But if tomorrow that lecture won't come off, kindly let me so that we finish it. We have the lecture tomorrow in the evening. So thank you all so much for showing up and hope to hear from you soon. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sika. Again. I don't know. Just in. What was it?